Every video and episode of the It's Cavalier podcast is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoy the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos, podcasts, member shoutouts, and more. And as always, thank you for watching. Man, oh man. Welcome to an emergency edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mac, and as you all should be very aware of by now, we got some disheartening news. Not anything that is soul crushing, but definitely not something you want to see pop up on your phone during the course of the offseason, right? The mid offseason period right now is where we got kind of a bombshell just dropped on us in the form of a player suffering an injury that required subsequent surgery. That being none other than Max Strus. You can't make this stuff up, man. The team's already, Darius Garland is not due to be back with the team, at least at the start of the season, after he underwent successful surgery at the start of the offseason, where a lot of people were downplaying how bad his toe injury was during those playoffs. Lo and behold, he gets surgery and is going to miss the first couple of weeks of the 2025-26 season. Now it's been indicated that Max Strus, ladies and gentlemen, got injured during a fucking offseason workout. And the people are getting pissed off about players not appearing in certain offseason voluntary offseason workouts. And lo and behold, one of the Cavaliers starters, or at least high-level role players, gets injured during an offseason workout. It can happen, right? It's not something that we've never seen before, but here's the wording. If you are looking at this via YouTube as of right now, the Cavaliers just reported this. Shams reported it as well. But Cleveland Cavaliers forward Max Strus underwent successful surgery today to repair a Jones fracture, fifth metatarsal in his left foot, suffered recently during off-season training. The procedure was performed by Dr. David Porter in consultation with Cavaliers team physician Dr. James Roseneck at Fort Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Indianapolis. Strus is expected to resume basketball activities in approximately 3 to 4 fucking months. Come on, bro. His status will be updated as appropriate. Notice, this says his status is going to be updated. It doesn't say that he'll be back in 3 to 4 months. It simply means that the timetable will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 months based upon the wording of this. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I get it. Again, this is something that can happen. It's one of those things where, like, you want guys to be working out during the offseason. You want your guys to be putting in the work to improve during the offseason, especially after such a brutal second-round exit against the Pacers and such a pivotal 2025-26 offseason. You want your guys to be working out. But this is just unfortunate. It becomes apparent to me a couple of things, though. One is that you need to get another body in here just in case, because we already have a bunch of players that are either working their way back from injury, whether it be Darius Garland, Lonzo Ball, and add Max Strus to that. But you have some guys who are injury prone or have sustained a good enough amount of injuries to have that label, right? You need to go out and get one more body in that 14th spot. I keep preaching that you need to do what you can to get Malik Beasley. That's a pipe dream. Like, I honestly don't think that's going to happen. But hell, this is why I say you need depth. This is why depth is important, folks. Like, people that keep telling me, bro, you don't want somebody to come in that could potentially steal minutes from the younger guys, whether that be Jalen Tyson or CPJ or Lonzo. This is why you want playable depth, because shit like this can happen. And with that happening, like, not only does it give some of the younger guys even more opportunity to crack the rotation, whether that be Jalen Tyson, who Kenny Atkinson appears to be a very big fan of, right? Or Craig Porter Jr., who's going to be duking it out with Lonzo Ball. But it opens the doorway for some guys to potentially see minutes at the back end of the rotation, whether that be Naquan Tomlin or Luke Travers, who's on a two-way deal. Don't forget about him. But I still have to say, you need to get another body in here. Like, I don't think anybody wants to roll into the season with two of your 5 starters or at least 2 of your high-level rotation members not hitting the court to begin the season in Darius and now Max, like, because they had to get off-season surgery. And listen, like the 2025-26 regular season, when you all boil it down, right? Nobody's going to give a fuck about what happens during the course of the regular season. As long as you remain relatively healthy, you make the playoffs and you see significant development, right? But you want people, you just don't want to see, you don't want this to happen. So it opens the pathway up for some of these young guys like Tyrese Proctor, who they just drafted. Opens a pathway up for him. That's a direct competitor for minutes. Max Strus was, Sam Merrill as well, Jalen Tyson too. All of these guys, like with Max possibly missing time to begin the season, Tyrese Proctor now has a direct path to potential minutes because there are a lot of people who are already expecting DeAndre Hunter to make the transition from starter or from high level reserve to starter, and that's still up in the air. Now it gives Tyrese Proctor the ability, right? Sam Merrill's probably going to be playing even more minutes than he probably was to begin the season because Lord knows Kenny Atkinson loves himself some Sam Merrill, but don't over rely on that. Play the young talent you have. Go out and acquire an additional body. Like I'm rambling. I know this, but you need depth. This is why depth is important. This is why I keep preaching from the rooftops. This is why I keep shouting from the rooftops. You need to go out and get an additional body. I don't care what the position is because these injuries, especially for this team that has suffered a number of them throughout the last couple of seasons, this is why it's important. Playable depth. I don't care if they're a threat to steal minutes away from anybody else on there. You want guys that can step in, fill in, and make sure that you're not missing a beat when one of your bigger rotation pieces falls to the wayside, is struggling, or has to get some sort of surgery. But I will say the timing of this, like, better that it happened now as opposed to during the beginning of the season itself or mid-season. Like, that would be a crusher. That would be a crusher at this point in time. And this has a trickle-down effect, right? It's not just the fact that Max Strus is going to be out. This could potentially impact not just the entire, like the starting lineup, but it's going to impact your entire rotation. It's going to impact your entire rotation because now I think you kind of have to think about, like, you were already questioning, do you keep DeAndre Hunter on the bench because he's going to soak up a lot of minutes at backup 4 alongside Dean Wade? Do you look at keeping DeAndre on the bench and bumping up somebody who probably did not have a shot to start in the first place, like a Jalen Tyson, a Dean Wade, or a Sam Merrill, right? We've seen that combination work out. And with Darius already being out, like, that's a lot of configuring they're going to have to try and play along with, right? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because I see the rationale on both sides. I see why people want to start DeAndre Hunter, count myself among those ranks, but I also see why people might prefer to keep his scoring, which is very potent, on the bench when you just lost Ty Jerome, another sour point among the fan base. It's tough, man. It is tough. And thank you, Naj Unscripted, who brings together a big point here. Didn't he miss the first 2.5 months of last season? He did. It is brutal, right? Back-to-back seasons where Max Strus is not playing the entirety of the year, or at the very least is not healthy to start this season because he only appeared in 50 games last year. I mean, we did not see Max Strus for a good long portion. The first game we saw Max Strus was in December, folks, and we're very much looking at that potentially. Like, his first game was against the Milwaukee Bucks. I remember that. I think he hit 3 threes in that game. I think it was in mid-December, December 20th, I think. But it's tough. You hate to see stuff like this happen. Now you're going to want to lean on some of that young talent you have. You don't want to ride these guys into the ground early on in the season. You're going to want to see who has it and who doesn't, right? Get Luke Travers up, see what he has. Make sure that that Tyrese Proctor looks fit to be in the NBA. Give people the opportunity to shine when some of your bigger players are going to be missing, right? Darius, Max, God forbid anybody else, like any of the other rotation members, have to get surgery that just happened at the drop of a hat. But Jesus, man, I'm like, this is just not something you want to see. And like I said, this is going to have a trickle down effect on the entire rotation that Kenny can trot out there. As it stands, like I think there was a large contingent of people that preferred Lonzo Ball to get the start. And honestly, I don't love that idea. I would love to bring him along slowly. I would much rather either start Donovan Mitchell at the point and play Jalen or Sam at the two. Or I would prefer that, CPJ get the starting nod at the one guard, Donovan Mitchell at the two, and then, you make a decision at the three, whether that be DeAndre Hunter, Jalen Tyson, Dean Wade, or else. Because all of these players like Jalen, Dean, and DeAndre have all played and started at the NBA at this point in their career. So there's a lot of different decisions that Kenny Atkinson can go with, but this is not something that you want to see. And Max Strus, of course, coming off a season, 50 games in which he averaged 9.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.2 assists. He shot 44.2% from the field, including 38.6% from three-point distance, and up to that final game in the playoffs. And I know it wasn't a great series for any Cavalier in particular against Indiana, but Max, there was a couple games during the course of the 2024-25 playoffs where Max was actually one of the better players out there on the floor, who was being asked to do much more than you would typically ask Max Strus to do. But by all standards, it was a decent season for Max. He shot much better than he did the first time around when he only shot about 35.1%, I think, in his first season with Cleveland. It was one of those things where the stats kind of don't tell the whole story of how impactful a player was. Him being a connective tissue out there, being an underrated, undersized defender at the three, playing big minutes in the playoffs where Evan and Darius missed time. And he shit himself in that final game. Well, yeah, he shit himself in that final game against Indiana, but I won't hold it against him just because everybody else was pretty bad too. And I know the text that he sent out, the message that he had to the team, don't show up, blah, 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 blah. But by and large, Max has had a positive impact on this team. But I'll tell you what, if you wanted Evan Mobley to become even more of a focal point of this offense, you got yet another domino that is going to, fall back or fall down to give Evan that chance to be propped up, because Darius is going to miss the start of the season. Max is probably going to miss the start of the season. Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. That's it right there. And Jarrett Allen, right? Jarrett Allen now becomes your third best player out there. I mean, there's an argument, some games where he looks like your second best when Mobley, it just hasn't put it all together in the game. But I'll tell you what, I still feel good, right? Better that this happened now than it happened during the start of the season or midseason, like I said, because it does give you that avenue to see what you have in some of this young talent, whether that be Proctor, Tyson, Travers, Craig Porter Jr., or else, right? Naquan Tomlin, he deserves the mention here too, with DeAndre Hunter possibly playing big minutes or even starting. Naquan Tomlin could be bumped up. If Dean Wade ends up starting, you potentially get an opportunity for Naquan to jump into the back end of that rotation and play some reserve 4 minutes alongside Larry Nance Jr. at the 5. There's just so many different combos you can have here. But this is not what you want to see. I'm at the point right now where I really need to sit down and think about what makes the most sense in terms of rotation. And I know I had an entire stream dedicated to that, but with this new injury, you might have to have another one. Naj also says Evan must, that's capitalized, average 25 plus. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 23 to 24 is not out of the question, especially with Darius and Max missing time. But I do think with some of the new additions on the team, I don't know how much that scoring is going to jump up because what did Evan average this season? Was it 17, 18? It was 18 and a half. Going from 18 and a half to 25, that's a big jump. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do certainly think like 22 to in between 22 to 24 is certainly possible. I don't think Darius and Max are going to be gone long enough for him to get up to that point, but I would love it. I'll tell you that. Cameron Johnson says I would start Sam and let Lonzo play with CPJ off the bench. I'm not opposed to that. I know a lot of people hate it, but Sam Merrill has been a productive starter at times when given the nod beside Donovan Mitchell. We have seen both of those two have like to see both of them coalesce very well, and Sam play really well off of Donovan Mitchell when Don's at the point. If Life Spoke says, if opportunity presents itself, this reminds me of how we discovered CPJ and Sam because of Darius and Evans' injuries in 2023. Instead, it'd be Proctor and Tyson. That's a good parallel, a good one-to-one there because that opened the gateway for Sam to essentially become the player that we know him as now, right? When the Cavaliers first brought him on, nobody really knew if he would stick long term. We knew he could shoot based upon what he had done in small stretches at the G League level and with Milwaukee and some of the other destinations that he'd been with, but he hadn't been given a large enough time for us to really develop an opinion on him. And the Cavaliers obviously liked what he brought to the table, signed him to a multi-year contract, and with the injuries that those two suffered, that gave Sam and CPJ opportunities to shine. Team Gears says, let's get Malik. I'm on board with it. I just don't know if Kobe Altman, well, it's not even a Kobe Altman thing. They've checked in on Malik. This is a Malik thing. What does Malik value the most? Is it the money? Is it the opportunity? Is it some combination of both or even more? With what we have heard, what's been reported, the context of his situation, I would think that money is the most important thing. And if that is, like play time and money kind of go hand in hand because if you're signing a contract to kind of recoup your value or restore your value, you're going to want to do that with a team that gives you the best opportunity to play the most minutes. And that is not Cleveland. But if your priority is championships, competing, right, proving that you can be a winning player, I think it's a pretty solid opportunity for him, especially with what just happened to Max. I would reach out, see if he would accept that veteran minimum, and who knows? Nate says Hunter has a high release. He could probably fill that role of shooting bullshit bullshit shots. I mean, listen, we're talking about a player who is coming off a season in which he was absolutely stroking the twine, 40.5% on the 2024-25 season. And let me tell you, when he got to Cleveland, that shot was smooth. 42.6% from three-point range in his 27 games during the regular season for Cleveland compared to 39.3%. Both are good. Both are career bests, right? Well, it's not really. Yeah, it is a career best. 39.3% was the highest percentage prior to being traded of his entire career. And then 42.6% with the Cavs. That's far and away better than he had in any other previous season. But yeah, the problem with starting Hunter is removing that bench scoring. Like, that's the problem. That is a problem as much as people probably don't want to acknowledge that because you lost Ty Jerome, your biggest bench piece of last season. You need somebody. Like everybody else is unproven. Everybody else on that bench in terms of like dependability, in terms of bringing shot making, unproven. Jalen Tyson has that ability, I think, but unproven. Lonzo is not really a true scorer. CPJ, we don't have enough on him, honestly, to really know. Well, I guess we do, but I don't get those vibes from him, right? Dean Wade is what it is. Larry Nance Jr., not that guy. Naquan Tomlin remains to be seen. Tyrese Proctor, still a work in progress. No definitive answer on a lot of these options. DeAndre Hunter remaining on the bench gives you at least that balance. So there's a lot of question marks here. There will be a trickle-down effect in terms of Max Strus being out. Dylan Blair says, will Lonzo be good to go to start the season? I think so. I think all reports indicate that Lonzo's fine. I think there was a wrist injury and not necessarily anything to do with his knees in his time in Chicago when he missed the rest of the season. And I think he's good to go. Cameron Johnson says, I think we get a 2023 Don to start to the year when he averaged 30. That's fine, but I don't want him to like grind himself into the ground. I just want even if it costs you a couple of games, I just want the Cavaliers to see what they have. I don't want Don like burning out earlier on in the season because he's trying to keep things afloat the way that he did in 2023, 24 at points without DG. Like, I know functionally as a point guard, he can do it. He can look elite at it. It's not the best thing that he does, but I do think that it is certainly in his game. And he showed that when Darius and Evan missed all that time 2 years ago. But I don't want him burning out. So if that costs you a couple of games because Kenny's experimenting with the rotations, yeah, I mean, do that. Develop the talent that you have in-house with the new CBA. It's really important. Cameron also says, so do you think it's a mistake if Kenny leans into the core for playing 33 to 35 minutes? I don't think it's a mistake, but I think that you need to pick and choose when you do that. They did a pretty damn good job in managing minutes last season with multiple players playing career lows, and that still didn't matter. It did not matter come the postseason because you experienced all these fluky injuries, whether that be Darius re-aggravating the toe injury or Evan Mobley spraining his ankle or DeAndre Hunter dislocating his thumb. It did not matter. It's crazy. You just need to go out there and experiment, pick and choose when you have your starters, your core players play high level of minutes and give the young guys some minutes, because I don't care what they do during the regular season as long as they make the playoffs with a top 6 seed, hell, top 4, hopefully, and they're relatively healthy. That's what I want to see. I could really care less to see guys like have like high statistical things, except for Evan Mobley. I want Evan Mobley to go get his. This is his time to shine. Cameron says, I agree 1000%. Use the 82 games as experiments. Sometimes the result aren't what you want, but I believe the process was great from us. Yes. Imda says J.A. is 27 years old, entering his prime. Why doesn't anyone ever talk about his need to keep improving, just like Ev and DG? I think that J.A. needs to improve, but I also think that we kind of know what J.A. is at this point in time, beside Evan Mobley. The only thing that I would like to see Jarrett Allen continue to improve in, utilize the shot that you have. I have seen Jarrett Allen take the mid-range shot and make the mid-range shot. I know that it is in his game. I have seen him in the earlier portion of his career take and attempt threes, not necessarily efficiently, but I know the midi is in his game. That's what I really want to see him improve in. Everything else on top of that is gravy as long as he stays healthy and gives the same type of impact that he did last year. And from a mental perspective, doesn't matter what he does on the court, honestly. I need to see Jarrett Allen locked the fuck in come the postseason. I need to see this man go out for blood and ready to just grab every single rebound and block every single shot that he can come the playoffs, and not give us inconsistent efforts when he's not getting the ball. Because what we have seen from Jarrett Allen is that he's not getting, when not given the ball at times, he can become kind of nonchalant out there and just, you can tell it's visible. That's my thing with Jarrett. Alonzo Webster says it's not enough playmaking, ball handling. If you start Sam, the obvious answer is start Jalen Tyson. I disagree with that. I think we have seen Sam Merrill be productive as a starter. I think as a perfect example, I would go back and watch a lot of those games that Sam did play high minutes in during the 2023-24 season. Alonzo also says because he can handle the ball and pass, it will allow breaks for Donovan Mitchell. I think you can still work Jalen into the rotation in heavy minutes while starting Sam. Just because you start Sam doesn't mean Sam has to get your typical starter's amount of minutes. All I know, guys, is that this sucks. I really hate to see it. But as I always tell you, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you would like to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to It's Cavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you said invite. If you want to support the pod in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon. You can do that for as little as $1 a month. Go Cavs.